Yo, what's up, everyone? This is Nick here, back with another episode of Meet the Taco Plebs. And today is an episode that I've been wanting to do for a while now. It's another one of the Bitcoin memesters on Twitter from the whole squad of Greg, RD, Chairforce, Yellow, etc. This is Labra HODL 6 on Twitter. It was just Labra HODL, but I remember, unfortunately, Twitter's been banning him a few times, so he had to make a few new accounts. But looks like this one's sticking around. And yeah, dude, I'm really happy that you decided to come on the show and have people get to know you better. So, Labra, what's up, dude?
Thank you, Nick, for having me. I'm really excited.
Yeah, dude. So let's just jump right into it. What's your Bitcoin rabbit hole story and how did you find it?
Yeah, so that was a while back, the first time that I heard about Bitcoin, and I was actually really looking into the WikiLeaks. I don't know if you remember that. I think that was back in 2010, 11, something like that. Probably 2012, and that was the first time that I heard about Bitcoin. I think that PayPal canceled the donations for WikiLeaks, and that's when Julian Assange, I think, mentioned about a Bitcoin, but didn't pay too much attention to it. But then back in 2017, that was around December at the beginning. I don't know if it was the beginning. I think it was around November or December that I bought my first Bitcoin. And I bought it around like 12K, something like that. And I just saw it going all the way to 19,000, 20,000, and then didn't understand what was happening with that. And yeah, and then it crashed and didn't understand what was going on. So yeah, and then 2018, there was the whole bear market, and I just took some time to really understand what's going on, what's this thing, why is it like going up and down price, and you hear all of this about volatility and all of that. And that's when I started to learn Bitcoin. I have a technical background, so I started with the white paper on bitcoin.org. I read it, reread it, read it like 10 times, I think. So yeah, that's, I think, 2018 when I learned about Bitcoin. And then on 2019, and by 2018, I didn't stack a lot of Bitcoin. So it was like not periodically, it was like 1 month I stack like $200, and a couple months later I stack another more. So yeah, because I didn't understood the fundamentals by then. But then in 2019, that's when I started like organizing all my finances, and yeah, I just put some money on the side like for emergencies. Then I have actually a spreadsheet where I put all my how much I'm going to pay for rent, for food, etc. And then the rest is just goes all into Bitcoin since then. But on 2019, I wasn't on Twitter. It was until the 2020 crash that I got into Bitcoin Twitter, and I just found all these amazing people, like all these random cartoon characters, giving advice, and pretty smart people over there. And yeah, found American HODL. I found you, all the memers, Greg Zaj. I mean, met like everybody in there. So that's my rabbit hole story, I think, till 2020, the crash.
Nice. Back in 2017, do you remember like the hype? And like I remember when, because I got in a little bit before you did, and like same year, just a couple $1,000s before. And I remember the hype around Bitcoin was insane. Like everyone and their
Yeah.
mother was talking about it. It was on the news. Like everyone had to
Yeah.
have some. And that was at, 10K, 11K, 12K, all the way up to only 20K. And I say only, with the price being 50K now, but back then that was a huge deal. And
Yeah.
it's really crazy to me how now we're at 50K and it's like crickets, like mainstream people like are not focused in on Bitcoin in the slightest. And if they are, they're
Yeah.
just spewing some energy FUD. Like what are your thoughts on
Yeah.
when do you think the hype will come back or
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not sure, but I have the same feeling. Like when I jumped in 2017 was all this noise, and you can see it on the news every time, and all even if there was fraud in there, like people saying that it was used by criminals, etc., and the price was just keep pumping, and yeah, that's when I jump in. But yeah, as of today, I'm not sure. Even though there's like these big companies jumping in, it's like the retail doesn't still doesn't get it. I'm not sure why. They're probably afraid of the price. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because there's like Michael Saylor going into like I don't know how many billion in debt now to buy Bitcoin. Square is
Yeah.
buying hundreds of millions of Bitcoin. Or there was rumors that they were, and I didn't confirm this, so I'm going to say it's a rumor, but that they were looking to take out 1.5 billion in convertible notes, just like MicroStrategy did. Tesla bought 1.5 billion and said that in the future you're going to be able to pay in Bitcoin. But
Yeah.
then people will say, "Oh well, no, I won't buy Bitcoin because it uses too much energy." Like it's so stupid.
Oh my God. Yeah, that energy thing is like because I think that happened also in the 2017 bull run, or at least on the bear market. I heard about all this energy thing. It consumes too much energy, blah blah blah, and it's like, oh my God, this is just so stupid. Like people waste energy in some other things that they don't consider, and saying that Bitcoin wastes energy, it's just stupid. Like,
And like since like Bitcoin is one of the only things that we can actually track how much energy it uses,
yeah,
we can't even say that for a lot of other stuff. And a lot of other stuff consumes a lot more energy than Bitcoin, and Bitcoin actually puts it to good use.
yeah, yeah. It's a ledger. It's like recording time and what is happening in that block. Um, so yeah,
Hmm.
it's a time chain.
Yeah. I wanted to get your thoughts on. So when you rode up from 12K to 20K, and then after that, as we headed into 2018, and then throughout the next couple years until 2020, we went from 20K down to 3K, and then we
Yep,
went up to 14K, and then back
yep,
down to 3K. There's a
yep,
lot of lessons in bear markets that you don't learn in bull markets because
yep.
everything's all green in bull markets and everyone's happy and making money. But in the bear market, that's where people really, I've noticed, like hunker down and actually learn
Yep.
about Bitcoin. Like, what are your thoughts on the importance of a bear market?
Yeah, I remember that pump to 14K, and I
Yeah,
bought again at 14K. Like,
same
yeah,
here.
yeah, and I by that time I didn't knew about the cycles or the halving and all those things. So I was just like, yeah, this is another run, and it's gonna crash again, and that's what happened. But yeah, I think on the bear market is when you get like your strong hands, like and you start learning this thing, and you start to understand that it's not just about the NGU technology, but it just covers economy and planning for the future. There's a lot of things involved, all the technology. I love it. I'm a technical person. I just love all the technology, how it works, the layers that you can put on top of Bitcoin, multi-sig, and you start just to learning all these things. But if you ask me on 2018 if I knew about Austrian economics, I would say, what the hell is that? I don't know. like Austria, Australia. I don't know what they do with their economy, something like that. But yeah, over time you start to learn all these things, and it's like very complex. And I really like to learn a lot. And um, that's when you met all these amazing people on Twitter. Like even though they have like their own. Uh, they are specialized like in an area, but they know a little bit of the other part. So it's amazing. And on the bear market, as you said, is when you learn a lot
Mhm.
of lessons.
I like when people hear Austrian economics for the first time and don't know what it is. I remember I was working at my old job a few years ago, and one of my coworkers was asking me what I'm interested in, and I said Austrian economics, and she told me, she was like, "Well, why don't you just study abroad in Austria and learn about it?" I'm like, no, it's not like that.
Yeah, I don't blame her. I would have said the same answer.
Yeah. But moving on to my next question is, has Bitcoin changed your life in any way? And if so, how?
A lot, like a lot, especially with the low time preference. So that changed a lot. I mean, when I was a kid, my parents like try to make us to save a little bit, and they teach us how to work, even though they told us just to you know go to go and throw the garbage outside, something like that. So and give us some money, save a little, spend another part. But then as time goes by and you earn your own money, there was like this urge to like get the money and then spend it like right away. And yeah, I was like that. I was just spending all my money and uh, like not thinking about my retirement because the government will take care of that and blah blah blah. So yeah, when I started learning Bitcoin, I had that switch and it, everything just changed. So now, like I take responsibilities of what my future is gonna be. Like I planned a lot more than that I used to do, and yeah, I'm pretty bullish on the future now. Before Bitcoin, it was like, yeah, I'm going to get a job. I'm going to retire at I don't know 80 something years, whatever, and the government will take care of me, blah blah blah. But it's not like that. So yeah, after Bitcoin, I'm pretty bullish on the future now, and I know there's going to be a lot of improvement in technology and the way we live our lives right now.
That's awesome. You said you, as a kid growing up, you would do work for money, even if it was just something as simple as like chores and taking out
Yeah,
the trash.
yeah,
I've noticed a lot of kids like my age, and I'm a Gen Z. I'm 21 years old. I don't know what the age range of that is. I think it's like 24 to like maybe like so somewhere in the teens. I don't
mhm,
remember how what the age range of it is, but I grew up with a bunch of kids who did not work. I know a lot of kids in Gen Z don't work. I grew up doing work like that as well. And I think it teaches you a lot of like important life
yeah.
teachings that you can't get anywhere else. Like what, and I have my own thoughts on like kids not working and like the consequences of that. But do you have any opinions on like kids not working today?
Yeah, I think that's pretty important because you start to learn how to earn your own money and you can spend it however you want. And also, even if it's a very simple task, you learn a lot. I actually work with my father for a few years, um, and even though I didn't get any payment from him, everything was just going for paying the electricity bills, etc. But I learned like a lot, and I learned about taxes. I learned about electricity. I learned about air conditioning. I learned a lot of things just by doing work, like hard work. So I think that's something that when you are in your teens, it's good to do. Like even though if it's something really small, because you learn a lot about, especially if it is something like a physical to do. I think that's pretty good, and earning your own money.
Hmm. And then I think that naturally like helps bring you to Bitcoin with how, because like to take care of your own keys and to hold your own keys, like
Yeah,
that's a big responsibility, especially the more Bitcoin you have. You have to properly secure it and make sure it's all safe and safe from any, possible attack vectors. And a lot of people just are scared, and I don't think they like the idea of that. I feel like they like the idea of holding their Bitcoin in a bank, which
yeah,
is like
yeah,
a huge no. Like you
yeah,
should not do that. But I have a feeling that in the future, banks are obviously, I think banks are going to be around because there's always going to be a huge amount of people that don't feel comfortable holding their own keys. And yeah, what are
yeah,
your thoughts on banks in the future?
yeah. I've always been like anti-bank, to be honest. Like I don't like banks. I hate banks, especially with what have they done. I live in South America, and when you see countries like Argentina, Chile, Brazil, and the hyperinflation just hits, and there's people who cannot take the money out of their bank. It's just sad. Like you lose your life savings in there. So yeah, I don't like banks. I prefer to people to custody their own coins, their own Bitcoin. But we'll see what solutions, because as you said, there's probably people who don't feel comfortable holding their own keys, even though that is the best way to be self-sovereign. That's the whole idea. But I'm pretty positive on Zoomers that they will hold their keys, and because if you tell a kid that you need to go to a bank and that you need to do all this paperwork, they will just say, dude, why? I can just do it from my phone. So yeah,
Yeah, dude. We're we're so tech savvy. I feel like
yeah,
it's gonna be like, oh, like why would I hold my money in a bank when it's super slow and there's fees and stuff when I can
yeah,
just hold it on my phone
yeah,
and just do whatever I want with it. But one thing I wanted to touch on was that like a lot of people outside the Bitcoin space don't know this, but like it blew my mind when I found out for the first time that how fractional reserve banking worked. And
yeah,
that was one of the things that I was like, okay, I can never trust my money in a bank because as soon as I put it in, they lend it out and make more of it. And that's just it's criminal in my opinion.
yeah. It's just diluting your money there, your all your hard work. And you're in the U.S., so you know how the Federal Reserve works. But banks down here are like criminal. You don't know what's the supply or the inflation rate. I think right now it's like 10% where I'm living right now, and you don't know how much money they are printing. They are not telling anyone. There's no information anywhere. So yeah, out of a sudden, boom. Sorry, hyperinflation. We cannot give you your money. Banks
Yeah.
close. There are no dollars. So yeah, it's pretty sad the situation, and thank God we have Bitcoin.
It is really sad, dude. It destroys people's lives in so many ways. And
Yeah,
it yeah, like really Bitcoin, the importance of Bitcoin cannot be underestimated. Like the power of just a strict 21 million hard cap that no one can produce more of is it's literally saving humanity right now.
yeah,
But
exactly.
I wanted to go on to the next question, and What is like the coolest and dopest thing about Bitcoin, in your opinion?
The dopest thing about Bitcoin, the fact that you can store your energy and you can send it through space and time and it doesn't dilute. I think that is amazing. Like we never had that. Like, or at least I've never seen that. My parents never seen that. And it's really amazing that you can store your energy in there, and then use it in the future. So just I'm storing my energy right now, and I can just trade it in the future if I want to. I think that's pretty awesome. I think that's pretty awesome. Because as of now, at least in Latin America countries, the only way to do that was to save money in US dollars. But when you see what the Federal Reserve is doing right now, it's like it's no longer an option. So yeah, so I think that's the best part, and the way that you can self custody those coins, I think that's amazing too.
Have you listened to the podcast that it's this whole series that Robert Breedlove did with Michael Saylor, where they went super in depth on that?
Yes, I actually a lot of people recommended that. I unfortunately had not the time to listen to it, and I started this last weekend. So I'm on the third part right now, and they cover like this history of money. Like it's amazing, like from the Romans, metals, and so on. So yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
just started to listen to it. I'll continue this weekend.
It's so good. Like they talk about exactly what you said, like storing energy into the future, and like
Yeah,
they bring up different examples of stored energy. They bring up, fire, for example,
yeah,
when man first made fire, and then, a lot of past time later, they talk about like, cereal boxes. They
yeah.
found ways to package food without it
Corn. Yeah,
without it losing energy over time, so it doesn't
yeah,
spoil and you can store it into the future. Like that's just
yeah,
insane to me, and like it helped me envision Bitcoin like storing its energy over time in a much better way. And I think about it all the damn time. I'm just
yeah,
thinking like, man, like my monetary energy is not leaking at all, and that makes us have the high ground over
yeah.
everyone else.
Yeah, and if you think about it, we are so early right now. Like we are so early, and that's what most people don't understand. Because how I see the future of Bitcoin is just going to absorb everything. Like it doesn't care. It will just absorb all of the energy.
I totally agree. Like there's so much money out there left to like just plunge right into Bitcoin. It's insane. Like, and I always think like people oftentimes will tweet out like, "Oh, we're living in hyper Bitcoinization," or "Hyper Bitcoinization happens at 100,000, a million, 10 million." But I'm
Mm.
starting to think like maybe hyper Bitcoinization doesn't start until like Bitcoin just doesn't even have a price anymore. It's just everyone's unit of account. And it's like
Yep.
we're all on an actual Bitcoin standard. And then that's when like, you know, the hyper Bitcoinization actually begins. The story actually begins then.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And yeah, to be honest, at least for me right now, my unit of account is sats. So yeah, every month that I could get paid is just like just pay my bills, put everything into sats, and that's the unit of account that I use for me.
So that's the standard.
Sats the standard. Love it.
So, moving on to the next question is, what are you most looking forward to in the Bitcoin space?
Uh, Lightning Network, I think. I really love the development that is going on right now with Lightning Network, second layer. And I don't know if you heard the podcast of Daniel Prince, Once Bitten, and I think Tales from the Crib. They also had the guys from Bitcoin Beach. I don't know if you heard of that.
I have not, but I know who Bitcoin Beach is.
Yeah,
I follow him on Twitter.
yeah. So it's this community like um, buying and selling and doing services with Bitcoin, and it's everything over Lightning Network. Um, so I think that's awesome, and I think that's going to be the next step, like people making transactions over Lightning Network. Um, yeah, it's amazing. It's changing people's life. Like there's people who don't have anything, don't have any bank, and out of a sudden they can just make transactions over Lightning Network. This technology, it's pretty amazing. So
I'm curious. I know Strike, the app by Jack Mallers, went global to over 200 countries.
yep.
Did it go live in your country, and have you been able to download or use it?
No, it's not available where I live. But I know that Jack Mallers was, I think he was traveling or he was in conversation with the people at Bitcoin Beach, and they were going to implement that in there. So that's gonna make it easier. I think at least the countries in Central America depend a lot on money that is being sent from the U.S. To their country, so they can bypass these like Western Union, MoneyGram, etc., because the fees are pretty high. So I think that would be pretty awesome if you can send like money instantly via Lightning Network and people can just receive it right away. It's awesome, like across the globe. It's great.
Yeah, I know the fees are absolutely ridiculous, and um, I I'm curious. Like, well, I'm bullish. I should say, like, when families come or people come to the United States and then they work to send money back, if they send it on Bitcoin, via the Lightning Network or just the main chain, like all their family back home has to do is download an app on their phone
Yeah,
and then they're good. Like they don't have to send it through Western Union. I know in some countries they're like Jack Mallers was saying that there are gangs that sit outside Western Union and will take,
yeah,
a pretty good chunk of your money. So
yeah,
by the traditional way, by that way, you wouldn't have that much money left to take home. But now with Bitcoin, you get the money much quicker at a much cheaper fee or literally no fees
yeah,
and no one steals it. Like that's a total game changer for families actually building and maintaining their wealth.
yeah. And it's fast. Like Western Union, uh, it's I think it's low. Like I think you can get the money like in 24 hours, something like that. But I think a couple months ago I had to do a transaction and I had to do it through Swift. Oh man, what a pain! That was painful. It took like 6 days to arrive, and you just see your money like debited from your account, and it never gets to the other side. It was freaking expensive. That was painful. That was one of my worst experiences with a bank. So yeah,
It
and
makes
yeah,
it's like using caveman technology
yeah.
in like the modern day. It's
I think they send the physical money. Like they take the dollars and they send it in a boat. I don't know.
so I have one more question for you, and you can get as bull tart as you want, but what are your price predictions for the end of this year, 2021, and the end of 2030?
Infinity.
For 2021?
I mean, yeah, infinity, dude. It's no, for 2021. I mean, I'm really bad at giving price predictions.
I
So,
am too. Everyone is, I think.
yeah, it's like for me, it's infinity. Like this thing is designed to pump forever. It's
I
but
love that.
if I had to give you a number, I don't know, man. People speak about 100,000, 100K, 300K. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Either way, it's gonna pump like a motherfucker, dude.
That's a lot of fiat that goes into Bitcoin. Like,
well, they have an unlimited amount to print, and there's only a limited amount of Bitcoin to eat it up. So us getting in when we did is definitely benefited us very greatly, especially in times like now where they're inflating away our wealth and our value via money printing even more. And it's so nice to just sit back and just step away from all the bullshit of fiat money. So I definitely like your answer of infinity.
yeah, I think it's the way it has to happen. I mean, I don't see any other option. So I think my answer probably, I would say long term will be infinity, of course. But
Nice.
for 2021, oh my God, people's gonna hate me for being bearish. But I think 100K, 150K will be a good target.
Okay. So, dude, we've come to the end of the interview, and I had a really good time. And yeah, dude, thank you for coming on. Do you have any last words of wisdom or shout outs you want to do before we head off?
Yeah, thank you, Nick. This was awesome. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I'll probably give some shout outs over there. So, Chair Force, Pavi, Pan Marcus, Rashash, RD, Pedro. I don't know. There's a lot of people, man. Big Sean, Gigi, Jello. It's a lot of people. So
All
the entire Bitcoin Twitter community, they are awesome. Words of wisdom that I can say: just keep stacking sats, put them on cold storage, and keep contributing to the community. Even if it is shit posting like I do or memes, they are very welcome.
Nice, dude. So thank you again so much for coming on. If you made it to the end of this video, leave a like. If you also give Labra a follow on Twitter, his link will be down in the description below. And I'm signing out this episode, and I'll see you guys next week with a brand new guest. Peace.
Knowing auto invitation, hold on to the pavements. Hate me, love me, for grateful recognition. Her demands like a fit.